Hey, Chris, welcome to Maybe You're Like Me. How are you doing today, man?
Fantastic, man.
It's so good to have you here. We've been doing the podcast for a little while now, and it's been fun because I've got to talk to people like we talked to a guy named Max in Australia, and we've talked to people all around the US and stuff. But it's not every day that I get to be face to face with somebody. And so when I get these opportunities, it's way better.
Yeah.
Way better than through a screen. So get to see you in 3D and everything. And I won't get that opportunity on a screen until Apple comes out with those crazy VR goggles.
Yes.
So
yeah. Well, thank you for having me. This is cool. I don't get to do something like this every day. So I appreciate you thinking of me.
Well, we need to talk to the other podcast hosts. I'll put it out there and we'll be like, hey guys, what are we thinking here? We got to get Chris out there. So, all right. So for people that may not have met you yet, or they don't know the businesses you started or your family or anything like that, if you were on an elevator and you had to do like your elevator pitch,
Sure.
Who's Chris?
Yeah. Well, I think most people know me for my restaurant, which is called Black and Brew. I started 17 years ago here in Lakeland. We've grown to 3 locations now, and I've had a really great time with that experience and that business and doing business in Lakeland. And I also have another business called Patriot Coffee Roasters, which roasts craft coffee for our restaurants and other wholesale clients. And we have coffee carried in like 500 public stores throughout the state of Florida. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then we have like a fledgling tea company that we're working on right now called Color Theory Tea.
That's cool.
Yeah, I got a couple of kids who keep me busy. You find me most days at the soccer fields. Yeah, and I'm happily married to my wife Charity for almost 20 years now. So
congratulations, man.
Yeah.
So I think I first bumped into you probably 17 years ago when Black and Brew was opening.
Wow.
Actually, strangely enough, so I went to college here in Lakeland, and I don't know why, but for the entirety of the 4 years that I was in college, I only went to, and if you don't know Lakeland's kind of split up into like north, south, and like a little bit of central.
Yeah.
And central's where downtown is, where Black and Brew is. And I spent my entirety of my college career only on the north and south side because of the roads I took to drive. I didn't know downtown was there.
Yeah.
And so, but then I graduate college and there's this like new coffee shop that opens up and it turns out to be Black and Brew. And it's one of those places that immediately feels like home. And I know there was a lot of intentionality that went into that.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go ahead and start this off with gratitude. Thank you for making a place in our community that is it's warm and it feels like home. And thank you for your turkey, BLT. That, oh my gosh, that's a little bit of heaven.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome. Well, that's cool. It never gets old for me to hear people convey those stories of, and for a lot of college students actually who are away from home, who find that place that kind of reminds them or makes them feel as though they belong and are welcome. And so I love to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now this is like kind of an odd question, but so the podcast is called Maybe You're Like Me, and we're trying to figure out if maybe we're like each other. And so for a lot of people, you see a celebrity online or you see an influencer and you only get the filtered version of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole point here is that we get past the filtered version.
Yeah.
Oh man, I made a coffee joke there and I didn't even think about it. Hey. But yeah, so we get the filtered version of each other. But so if we're going to get past the filtered version, we got to start with the filtered version. So if somebody's just following you on like Instagram, or if they just see your public persona, who is that, Chris?
Yeah. Well, I think that would be 2 different things. I think Instagram, you would wonder whether I was alive because I post and then you'd be like, oh, he is alive, because every like year you'll see a post from me. And it's usually a picture of either one of my kids, like my son holding up a fish, or my wife, or maybe a random picture for the restaurant of one of my team members. So
that's cool.
In public, you might wonder if I hate people. And if I'm in the wrong business, because I can have tunnel vision. I am often on a mission from one restaurant to the other, to the roastery, to a meeting. And And sometimes I look right through the universe, and people will flag me down, and they'll have to say my name 3 or 4 times before I can break my concentration to acknowledge them. So I don't do that intentionally. I can get in that mood sometimes.
Listen, you're a focused man. You got things you're doing, and you got places to be. Everybody else needs to watch out. This is your world. We're just living in it. So, no, but okay. So I get that. So you're a serious man. But even like just in the couple of minutes we've been here, you're a fun guy. So
yeah.
We're gonna have a good time. This is gonna be good. So. Yeah. We do the podcast in 3 rounds. The first round, I call it the first date round, because like if you're like first starting to date somebody, like when you and Charity went out, do you remember your guys' first date?
Yeah, very well.
Oh yeah, what was it?
We went to downtown Disney. It was a group date.
It's not downtown Disney anymore.
Well, now it's Disney Springs. That's right. But back then,
way back in the 1900s,
it was downtown Disney. Yeah, and I remember it well because I encouraged our whole group. They had one of those fountains that was kind of like it was a visual display thing, but you could also walk through it. So
cool.
We ended up dragging the whole group into the fountain and jumping around, and so it's just one of those memories that's
fun,
very special. Yeah,
it's fun. Like especially having a place like that, because you can always go back there, and so as long as Disney's rocking in Florida. Sure. You guys have that spot.
I don't think they're going anywhere. Yeah, it was a good place to have a memorialize a first date.
Yeah, me and my wife, we don't we went to Sonny's Barbecue, and there's a whole story behind that, and that's neither here nor there. But she somehow still wanted to marry me later on. But we went to a movie, and we don't remember what movie we saw, because not because we were like making out the whole time or anything. I see that face. No, that's not what we were doing.
Okay.
But it's just like that. Like that wasn't the important thing. Like we both knew we liked each other, and it was like So it's cute that you guys had a good first date. But so on a first date, you don't want to ask like, do you like dogs, or
right.
Would you rather be a unicorn? I don't know. But you want to ask questions that like kind of get to know somebody a little bit better, and can be lighthearted. Like you don't want to be like, hey, tell me about your childhood trauma now. That's not
that's not in round 3, is it?
Yeah, round 3 is we're going straight to trauma.
Okay.
Oh no. Okay, but these are just like more fun, lighthearted, get to know you questions. But are there any famous landmarks, and we can start in the U.S. or globally, that you've never visited that you want to visit?
So I've done quite a bit of traveling, which I've been very fortunate to do that.
That's cool.
But I haven't, in terms of landmarks, I don't know if there's a landmark I want to see. I think I'd really just love to visit the national parks.
Okay.
I haven't been to any really. I'd like to go to Yosemite.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a few others. But I think it's, getting out in nature and seeing those natural wonders.
Yeah.
I think.
Are you generally outdoorsy as that?
Yeah, I love to be in the mountains. I love to be on the water. A lot of my days are spent indoors, so there's that angst there about wanting to get out. But yeah, I think getting more outdoor time, seeing the national parks, that would be something that I'd like to do sooner than later.
Yeah. So for outdoors, like, are you doing like mountains? You go in canyons? What, like, if you could just throw out one, which one's like the top of the list right now?
Yeah. I love to hike. So anything with a little bit of challenging terrain with, in the mountains, with a view. I'm down for.
In Canada, my brother a few years back visited Banff, and if you've never seen Banff or you don't know what Banff is, get on Google right now and just Google BAMF, and it's like the most beautiful, pristine thing. I'd love to see that with my own eyes.
Yeah. I love Canada. We actually take every other summer we take a vacation there.
That's cool.
They cottage country. It's called Barry's Bay. It's a little tiny town in Ontario, and they've right. They've got mountains and lakes, and we go smallmouth bass fishing, and so
that's cool.
It's a good time.
I am a great indoorsman. So there's people that they just love being out and doing that stuff. And I don't mind a good hike, but you pick the wrong state if you want like scenic, like mountains and beauty.
It's very flat, right?
Yeah. The tallest thing we got is like a landfill.
Yeah,
I think
not the greatest place for hiking. I do love the beaches, and I love the lakes and the rivers, and And so that kind of fills the cup there. But yeah, I'd love to have some mountains.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's all fun. I'm trying to think of for myself a landmark, like a physical or like a natural landmark. Like again, there's all those places like in Colorado and Nevada, Half Dome.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the redwoods.
Yeah.
If we're sticking in the U.S.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I think it'd be fun to visit like the Lord of the Rings stuff in New Zealand.
Oh yeah. That'd be cool.
And like I've just recently watched that stuff. Also, I need to make a public apology to the Lord of the Rings fans. It's pretty fun. So I publicly disparaged Lord of the Rings for a very long time. And so it's I'll make a full apology later. It'll be in writing. It'll be very official, but it's fun. Okay, keep it moving. Those are great places to visit. If money wasn't an object, what is something totally impractical and crazy, like a crazy expensive thing that you'd like to buy? Like not, again, it does not need to be practical. It doesn't need to be just something crazy, dumb, expensive, just for fun.
Oh man. Well, if you'd asked me 3 weeks ago, I would have said one of those underwater submarine things. Is it too soon?
It might be too soon on that one.
So yeah, no, it wouldn't be that. I don't think anymore, but, wow. And this is not crazy, like impractical, like it's probably relatively within reach, but like, maybe any Porche. Like I've had this fantasy since I was a kid.
Okay.
And I've never really spent money on, I don't spend money on much actually. I'm pretty, my wife is always trying to extract money from me. But she's well taken care of, by the way. She's okay.
That's good.
I'm not depriving her. But
Jared, if you need help, reach out. My number is.
I think it's interesting because it goes back to when I was a kid in elementary school at Lime Street Elementary, and the principal, Philip O'Brien, he had a Porche.
Okay.
And I was just like, this is amazing. And as a prize, the top student from each grade each year got to ride in his Porche to go to Pizza Hut.
Whoa.
And like have the full on Pizza Hut buffet. And so
also, can we just time out for 1 second? This story is very interesting, but can we take a moment of silence for Pizza Hut buffet?
Oh my goodness.
I used to throw down at a Pizza Hut buffet.
Yeah. It was a contest. It was like, how could you get your money's worth? Like
absolutely.
How many slices? And then make sure you get 5 slices of the apple pie dessert.
Oh my goodness.
Pizza as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just real quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. R.I.P. to Pizza Hut buffets. If where you live has a Pizza Hut buffet, let us know. Chris and I will travel out.
I will travel. Actually,
you know what? I'm changing my answer to the landmark question. I want to visit more Pizza Hut buffets.
Yes.
All right. So he had a Porche. You get to go to Pizza Hut.
You got to go to Pizza Hut. It's just this whole experience. But being in his Porche, I felt so important. And
so you got to go?
Yeah, I got to go.
That's awesome.
And so, so ever since then, I was like, man, that is like, you are winning if you have a Porche.
Absolutely, you are.
Yeah, I don't know. So, whatever.
Yeah, I've never been a car guy. So, like, there's certain people that they just love cars and everything car. And like my wife, like her and her brothers, like they've always like loved cars and car things. And I'm just like, my things for a car is it has to have AC.
Yeah.
And it has to, like, at this point, I would really enjoy it if it had Bluetooth.
Yeah.
And that's genuinely about it for me.
Yeah. And we are one of those families where like I just got a new car. I got a truck.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. But I drove the last car for like 13 years.
That's awesome.
And so that's the frugal nature. But yeah, if I'm dreaming a little bit, then, and I'm like you, I don't know anything about cars either, but I just have that vision of the Porche in my head as being the ultimate.
That is it. Yeah. And if that's it for you, I'm happy for you. So like, I always think like, if I'm trying to think of like crazy, dumb money stuff, like I don't ever think that big. Like I've got friends that like my brother and his kids are always asking questions like, would you like cut all your hair off for every day for a year for $1 million? And absolutely yes. Yeah. But I never like think past that.
Right.
So like, but recently I've been seeing people posting, and again, this is like if money was not an object, posting like $300,000 guitars made by like Les Paul by hand.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, That's so dumb. Yeah, that sounds fun. So if money was no object, like I want like the first Ford that ever rolled off the first model. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just making stuff up now and it just sounds fun.
Yeah,
And or
it does.
I would like to buy one of those Limitless pills from that movie Limitless.
Okay.
That you just,
I missed that one.
yeah, don't worry about it. But basically like your brain expands by 100% and you can like do Kung Fu. I don't know. It's basically you're in the Matrix.
Gotcha.
I don't understand it at all. But yeah, those are both, those are good options. So you can drive my very expensive guitar around in your Porsche and we will road trip to a Pizza Hut buffet.
Yeah. I'm down.
Okay. Like looking back on it, honestly, was it the Porsche or was it the Pizza Hut that really sold it
That's
for you?
That's a great question, actually. Somehow that magical combination, I feel like. Yeah.
Absolutely. And man, I just miss me that I just thinking about like 1990s, 1980s Pizza Hut and the magical place that it was.
So good.
Mm.
I feel like even the drinks tasted better out of those red cups.
Oh, absolutely.
Red plastic cups.
It's my new goal. I'm going to get on eBay this afternoon and find you one of those red cups and we'll get some stale Dr. Pepper.
Yes.
And put it,
Yes.
So this next round is called the slow round. And so if we started with like just the superficial stuff, like if this was an onion, we're going to go a few layers deeper. So this is less what you like and more a little bit about who you are and what makes you tick. And so if you're online ever, or if you ever watch TV or ever see a stand-up comedian, marriage gets dumped on a lot, and being married gets dumped on a lot. And so you've been married, you said close to 20 years now.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is, I'm secondhand proud of you guys. And so for you guys, like you've been married to Charity now for close to 20 years or 20 years. And what do you love about being married? Like, what do you love about your wife? What do you love about just marriage as a structure in general?
Yeah, sure. So, Charity and I started dating in high school, so we go way back.
Okay.
But I think what's cool about our marriage is that we started out as friends and developed a really great friendship, and that hasn't changed. So, I think what happens oftentimes in marriages is people come together but live separate lives. So have separate interests and separate career pursuits and separate responsibilities. And I think we're fortunate in the fact that we have a lot of common interests. There are a lot of things that we like to do together. We work together. You know, Charity handles all of our, she's essentially our CFO. So she handles our books and payroll and all of that stuff that I just would lose my mind if I had to be responsible for. We complement each other in that way and in many other ways. So I think too, for one of the things I appreciate most about her is that she challenges me. We have, the kind of relationship where we can speak into each other and speak openly and honestly. And
that's cool.
And it's going to sound really corny, but she really, makes me want to be the best version of myself.
That's cool.
And so she pulls that out of me, in a way that I think that if I didn't have that relationship, I would never have realized what I have been able to, the things that I've been able to achieve professionally, in relationships, the relationships I have with my kids, with my own family. So, I think it's, I love being married. I have a great relationship and, I think it's a special thing.
Yeah, that's cool. I've been married for actually 10 years this year. This is fun.
Amazing.
So and a couple, I'm doing the math again. Yeah. 10 years.
Sure, right.
All the fact checkers out there can hold me to it if I was wrong. But again, so like you always see people like talking bad about marriage and relationships and stuff.
Yeah.
And so to see a relationship like yours, and I don't know you very well, like just you're a guy that I've seen in town and I know who you are through reputation and through what you've done in town. And so for me, I just started looking through your social media and I see that you guys have built a strong family unit. And So just for people like me who see you and like, I wouldn't imagine you'd say you have the perfect marriage. Have you guys figured it all out yet?
No.
Oh, thank God.
By any means. No.
But so for people like me who are like, I'm always trying to be a better husband and I'm always trying to figure out better things in my relationship to do. What are you guys doing? Like, what are some practical things you guys do to keep your marriage strong?
I think it's a large part of it is just the fundamentals. It's the things that people say all the time. It's just obviously good communication and being considerate. But I think one of the things that we do that we actually we discovered in building our business was we take time to like dream together.
That's cool.
And to like each year we'll sit down and we'll say, what is it that we want to achieve this year? And that stems from or includes everything from what we want to do in our church and within our faith and how we want to grow personally and what we want to do with our kids and what we want to do with our businesses. So I think it's that intentional time that we take to make sure that that we're on the same page and that each of us is part of kind of casting a vision for our lives together so that it doesn't feel like one person's just kind of along for the ride.
Yeah.
I think, when you set those kinds of expectations and everybody's included, you avoid a lot of opportunities for, misunderstanding and for disappointment. And so, it's something that's worked for us.
Yeah. It sounds like you guys both come to the table with intentionality on and communication on what you want and where you're going with things. And if I'm honest, like that's something that I'm not always the best about.
Yeah.
And so even just hearing them think like, how can I better communicate what I want or how we can work together to push our family forward.
Sure.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Another question for you in this round is the world. I don't know if you feel this way. I kind of do. It feels like things are just heavy and the world can feel dark. But you've been a part of the Lakeland community. How long have you been in Lakeland?
My whole life.
Your whole life?
Yeah.
So you've seen like some ups and downs and in the middles and all that stuff. So like, what do you see in Lakeland, in your stores, in your family that gives you hope right now?
Yeah. So something I'll share about myself, which is one of my faults for sure, is that I can be kind of a cynical person.
Yeah.
And that's been built over time through experience and tough relationships growing up as a kid. But I think and this is something that charity's helped me with as well, but is to look for the everyday, the smaller moments where I witness unselfishness. So that can happen in the form of, seeing, our employees take care of each other, covering for each other, supporting one another. I think another example would be in my own family, for example, would be my son this past Christmas. So he was 10 at the time. He spent his entire savings to buy me a fishing pole.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was just like, oh, wow, that's super cool for you to make such a unselfish, and sacrifice so much to see me be happy. So, I know there are a lot of big things that are happening. And I think actually Lakeland it's one of the most generous cities in the nation. There was a report that came out like we're top 5 most philanthropic communities.
Good
in
job,
the United
Lakeland.
States. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So there are tons of generous people here doing cool things all the time to lift people up. And but for me, it's the things that are the best reminders from it, just the small things that happen. We're so, as a culture, we're very we're focused on ourselves. And I often wonder if, as a thought experiment, if we like removed all mirrors, if like there were no more mirrors and there were no more cameras and ways to see ourselves, if we would think of ourselves less and if we would act selfless as a result more often. So I don't know. I think there's that tendency to want to be concerned with ourselves. And there's a it's not a conspiracy, but there's a cultural move to put ourselves at the center of the universe.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is helpful.
Yeah. I think people call that main character energy.
Yeah. Okay.
You got that I'm the main character.
I haven't heard that, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So the thing that I'm like thinking about when you're talking is a lot of times like we see like this big picture of like the news is pumping in negativity or whatever, but on the small day-to-day things, the interactions you have, that's where you see hope. You see hope in people, and you see hope in your relationships and the world that's kind of within your grasp. I think even like you were saying, the takeaway mirrors and cameras and stuff. I think if we like for the longest time, you got the news like 3 months later.
Oh yeah.
It's like 2 months later,
Right.
Abraham Lincoln's been shot. What happened to the president? And so the world's gotten a lot smaller it's gotten a lot bigger because of how much information you can grab onto.
Sure.
And so if you're looking for negative, it's really easy to find.
Yep.
But at the same time, honestly, there's days where I just want to scroll through. There's like Instagram accounts called like Good News Only.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like videos of like dads coming home from the army or whatever. And like, I'm just a blubbering mess.
Yes.
But it's just always good to, if you're going to focus on something, focus on the good.
Yeah.
And that's where you can find the good stuff instead of the negative. So if you're looking at like your kids' generosity or the people on your staff loving each other, that's cool.
Yeah.
There's one question we ask everybody on the podcast. And so you're on the podcast and you're getting asked, sorry. And it could be the biggest thing, like you figured out a new way to brew coffee, or it could be the smallest thing, like you figured out how to do a magic trick. I don't know. But what's something you're learning right now?
Oh, okay. Let's see. So this is an interesting question because I listened to another podcast.
Good call.
Which doesn't compete with yours, by the way.
How could it?
But in the podcast, the host was talking about, creating New Year's resolutions. Okay. And he was...
It's always good in July.
He was, right? He was kind of poo-pooing that idea and was like, what I do is I create a curiosities list. So these are the 5 things I want to learn this year. And that resonated with me because I'm curious and I love to learn new things. And so that's something that I did this year. And so currently what I'm working on from that list is learning about culture, like corporate employee kind of that culture from that angle. So I actually just completed a book study with my team. We do these leadership book studies and make it available to all of our employees to come, and we'll meet on a Wednesday and we'll work through a book. And so we just finished the Culture Code, which was a really interesting book and a great start for us to kind of form a basis for understanding that and where we can make an impact within our business.
That's awesome. Again, so I wasn't blowing sunshine at you earlier. I was just thinking about that as you're talking about like wanting to build culture, so within your businesses and stuff, but you genuinely have already built something that is, to me and the people I work with, like there's not a moment in our office where there's not Black and Brew coffee ever. So and like when you guys did us a huge disservice by putting the new location about half a block down from us. So the only good thing not the only good thing, the whole thing is great, but the best part about it is it's within walking distance. So at least I get a few steps in when we're walking down.
Yeah.
So,
right.
But
justify it.
Yeah, no, but you've created places where community and culture can happen. And so, and the culture of your staff is super inviting and warm. And I love it that there's places like that in our community that people can go to and be a part of.
Yeah.
And I remember, again, so like back in my right after college days, I had friends who were starting bands, and you guys did like acoustic show nights and those kind of things. And like it made Lakeland home for me.
That's awesome.
Whereas if where I grew up, it was a bunch more corporate places, and anything local was it was hard to find.
Yeah.
But here, like it's like there's places where community can thrive and culture can thrive because of places like things you've built. So
thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
All right, so we're at the last round of the podcast here. It's my favorite round. It's called the Common Ground round, and it's where the podcast is maybe you're like me. So let's see if maybe you're like me. You got your 3x5 cards there on a Sharpie. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to ask you 5 this or that style questions.
Oh gosh.
And we are going to write them, reveal them, and see if maybe you and I are like, okay?
Okay.
All right. So I think I wrote this question wrong, and it doesn't matter. But would you rather have a latte or drip coffee? You are in the coffee business. I had to do at least one. Give me a second. I don't know what I want to do. I'm talking to delay my answer because I enjoy them both. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. I went drip. You went latte. Should the question have been espresso drink?
Yeah, you could. I mean, I get it. I understood what you meant.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. I was reading it and I was like, Mike, you're dumb. Just what's your go-to latte?
I get it's Florida, so it's hot, 90% of the year.
Yeah.
And I almost have the same drink every single morning, which is just an iced latte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything in it? Just
whole milk, ice cubes, espresso. That's it.
I love there was a period where I was doing an iced latte or a latte after lunch, and it was getting to be like 2 a.m, and I was like, I really gotta sleep.
Yeah.
But I was doing it every day. And so it was a vicious cycle because I wouldn't sleep. And then the next day, like after lunchtime, I was like, I gotta get a latte.
I need some caffeine. Yeah.
So that's my only hindrance from lattes right now, but I love them.
Yeah.
And I could down one right now. Actually, I'm probably going to stop by Black and Brown the way after this. But yeah, no, we're always just making drip coffee at home. And so that's just fun.
Yeah. To be clear, I love it all.
I
love it all, but I get a latte every single day. So
just live it up.
Yeah.
Do you know any good baristas?
I know a few.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Again, this is dumb, but Fast and the Furious or The Italian Job?
Oh.
I have the words written in front of me and I cannot spell. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. You went Fast and the Furious. I went Italian Job.
We are nothing alike.
So far, we're gonna get one of these. So. What's your thoughts? Are you a big Vin Diesel fan?
It's the original that got me. I don't think I've seen 1 and 2 and never seen any other one, but it's the original, and that just that opening scene of them drag racing where I think they're racing like a quarter mile, but it takes 5 minutes for them to finish the race. And, they hit the nitrous 3 times. It's like,
So something random that me and some friends have started doing is we're actually watching through all the Fast and the Furious movies.
Yeah.
And
they gotta be bad.
They're horrible in the best way though. Like in the first one, the one you're talking about, they hit the nitrous and like everything gets all like jittery and like slow-mo. They're like forcing through space time or something.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. The whole thing is so dumb. But you know what? It's all about family.
It's right. Maybe that's why I like it. It's just about the family piece.
And then you can't go wrong with The Italian Job. A bunch of Mini Coopers. Come on.
Now that I'm thinking about it, really? The minis?
They lift a house in the beginning of it in Italy, and Edward Norton's there.
Yeah.
So anytime Edward Norton's there, you're in for a treat.
That's true. Yeah. It feels like the whole thing was like a Mini Cooper commercial though.
I'm not against it.
Okay. All right.
Would you have felt different if it was a Porsche commercial?
Maybe.
Wow. Okay. Bringing it back around. All right. This one is I don't even know how to describe this one. Would you rather eat raw onions or Brussels sprouts?
Cooked Brussels sprouts?
Yes. This is a childhood dislike one. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. I went Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts.
Look at us finally agreeing. I feel like Brussels sprouts have changed since we were kids.
100%. Yeah, I think back in my childhood, everything like every other vegetable was boiled.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just this mushy, disgusting thing. Yeah.
Nope. I actually at one of those Fast and the Furious nights recently, our friend made Brussels sprouts, and they were so like I don't if childhood me knew that I went back and got seconds of Brussels sprouts, I would have slapped myself.
Yeah.
But I got like seconds and thirds when they were great.
Yeah.
So good job, Brussels sprouts for
right.
They had a glow up. So.
Yeah, for real.
All right. I have. Do you have any tattoos?
I don't.
All right. So this one's fun for both of us. I don't either.
Okay.
So would you rather have a foot tattoo or a wrist tattoo?
Oh my gosh.
I think this might be the first episode where the person leaves hating me. Why would he ask that? All right, here we go. I went wrist, you went foot.
Oh gosh.
What are you going to get on your foot? Maybe a butterfly or
I don't know. I think this is going to offend somebody that has a foot or a wrist tattoo, but I just think both are kind of lame. I don't know.
Listen, it was the 90s. Leave it alone.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'd get a butterfly. I don't know.
Okay, good for you.
Right.
You seem like a butterfly foot kind of guy.
Right.
All right. All right. This one is the only one that I've got invested stock in.
Okay.
Do you drink your cereal milk or do you dump it? And we're talking like childhood, like Fruit Loops, Frosted Flakes, Cocoa Krispies, whatever.
Gotcha.
I will get mad at you if we get this one wrong.
Oh no.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Ah! That's it.
Yeah.
The show's over. Get out. I put drink. He put dump. Why are you dumping your sugar,
dude?
Your sugar milk.
I only put enough milk to like
absorb into the cereal.
There's actually no milk left when I'm done eating the cereal.
I don't know why I'm mad at you right now, but I am.
Yeah, I was always baffled by the kids who like poured milk in until the cereal was floating all the way to the top. They finished it. They had, 32 ounces of milk left and then drank but that's you apparently.
Yeah, I've got strong bones, and unlike some people, I'm just going to go ahead and make a prediction.
Yeah.
It comes out later that Chris is actually a serial killer, and that anyone who doesn't drink the cereal milk and or pour in enough milk so that there is cereal milk must be a communist.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So
could be true. I don't know.
I'm just kidding. All right. So Chris, thank you so much for being here. And this has been so much fun. If there's people that want to maybe get to know you better or get to know more about Black and Brew or Patriot or any of the cool stuff you're doing, where's a great place for them to follow along and get to know you?
Unlike my own personal Instagram, our Black and Brew Instagram is pretty active.
Yeah,
so
it's great.
You can follow us at Black and Brew. Also Patriot Coffee. You can follow us at Patriot Coffee Roasters on Instagram. Both on Facebook as well, if anybody's still using Facebook. Dabbling in TikTok. But struggling.
Okay.
Admittedly.
Are you personally doing the TikTok dances or?
I tried. My daughter was going to cancel me, so
that's understandable.
Yeah. So we're working on other strategies.
Okay, good call. Good call. We'll talk to the marketing team. We'll get it figured out. Chris, thank you so much for being here. This was the best.
Cool.
And for all of you listening, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time here on Maybe You're Like Me.